We are glad to welcome you to our channel. Kindly subscribe to our channel and share our videos with your friends and relations. And click on the bell icon for instant notification whenever new videos are uploaded on this channel. Rest assured that we are going to have a very exciting and inspiring discussion. Let's dive into the lesson right away. Hello everyone, welcome back to our language learning series. Today's video is a special one as it is inspired by a question from our valued subscriber Udeze Ekene. Udeze, thank you for reaching out with your questions on appositive clauses. Today we are diving into the world of appositive clauses, exploring their basic meaning, specific features, and addressing Udeze's insightful questions. This is English Classes Online, and I am your host, Benjamin. Let's dive right in. Now let's look at Udeze Ekene's comments. I must apologize for, late response to this comment. It came in 6 months ago, and I must say that the delay wasn't deliberate. So, Udeze, if you are watching this video, I apologize for having not responded earlier to this comment, but I'm glad that I'm doing that right now. So now let's read Ekene's comments and questions, and it is as follows. Thanks so much for the video, sir. Please, sir, I have the following questions. Are all appositive clauses introduced by that alone? Is insertion the only way to test if a clause is an appositive clause? I have also noticed, sir, that in appositive clauses you gave as examples, after the that, there comes a subject before the verb. But in examples of adjective clause, after the that, the verb comes immediately without a subject. Is that always the case, sir? I must say again a big thanks, sir, for the lesson. I must say thank you once again, Ekene, for these insightful questions and encouraging words. Now, as you can see, Udeze has raised some important questions about the features of an appositive clause, and how to differentiate appositive clauses from adjective or adjectival clauses. Now, we are going to provide answers to all these questions. To give you a clearer picture of an appositive clause, we will start with the basics and give copious examples to show exactly what an appositive clause is, what its features are, and how to identify an appositive clause in English sentences. So let's begin with the basic question: what is an appositive clause? Of course, that's the first thing we want to do here. An appositive clause is a group of words that adds extra information to a sentence. It is a noun clause that is in apposition to or placed near another noun to explain or identify it. Let's look at some examples. We received the report that the governor had been killed by a gunman. Now, you can see the appositive clause underlined there, that the governor had been killed by a gunman. That is an appositive clause. And this appositive clause gives, it gives clear information about the reports. If you say we received the report and someone asks you what is the report, the report that the governor had been killed by a gunman. So now let's look at another example. I wept when I received the news that my mother had died. When you say I wept when I received the news, the question is what is the news, or what news are you talking about? That my mother had died. Another example, she nursed the hope that her husband would be re-elected. She nursed the hope. What hope did she nurse? That her husband would be re-elected. So we have seen exactly what an appositive clause is about. And yet another example, Mark didn't like his friend's suggestion that he should leave school and go into business. Now, that he should leave school and go into business gives explanatory information about, his friend's suggestion. When the question is what was his friend's suggestion? That he should leave school and go into business. Now this brings us to features of an appositive clause. Udeze asked if all the appositive clauses are introduced by that alone. Of course, as we have seen in the examples, all the appositive clauses begin with that. Well, a noun clause in apposition to another noun is usually introduced by the word that. This is because an appositive clause, which is when a noun clause is used in apposition, it usually explains such words as idea, fact, report, news, rumor, belief, suggestion, hope, notion, excuse, motion, and so on and so forth. The key is to look for additional information that means the same as the noun before it. Let's explain with this example. The rumor that the singer had died spread rapidly. Now, let's look at the explanation. If you remove the appositive clause, which by the way is the underlined expression there, if you remove it, the sentence still conveys its core meaning. So let's try to do it. We remove this, and what we have is the rumor spread rapidly. However, the appositive clause is required to explain or clarify the subject rumor. When someone asks, what was the rumor? All right, so the rumor was that the singer had died. Okay, so that's exactly the work of an appositive clause. And its major feature is that it, it identifies the noun that follows it. It gives an explanation about the noun that comes before it. Now take note, the word that in the sentence cannot be replaced by a WH word. Now, so that is the test for an appositive. Let's try to replace that with which or with why as follows. The rumor which the singer had died spread wrongly. It doesn't make any sense, does it? So the rumor that the singer had died spread rapidly. Now, if we attempt to replace that with which, the rumor which the singer had died, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, let's try to replace that with why. The rumor why the singer had died spread rapidly. Again, it's wrong because it doesn't make any sense as such. So as you can see, the only word that makes sense in the above appositive clause is that. The rumor that the singer had died spread rapidly. In English grammar, the word that collocates with certain abstract ideas, uh, such as the fact that, you know, the rumor that, the news that, the idea that, the suggestion that, the belief that, the report that. So there is an issue of a fundamental uh, issue of collocation here. Collocation is the grammatical concept which presupposes that certain English words, go together. Okay, so that is collocation, and the word that collocates with some of these abstract ideas, and that is why we see that the word that is a feature, is a recurring feature of appositive clauses. Now let's move further and we look at how to test for an appositive clause. Okay, Udeze's second question was about testing if a clause is appositive, and he asked, is the insertion of is the only way to test or to verify whether a clause is an appositive clause? And we are saying not necessarily. While inserting is can be a useful test, it is not foolproof. Instead, you need to focus on whether the clause means the same thing as the noun before it. If it does, then it might be an appositive clause. Okay, let's look at some example or an example. The announcement that the war was over caused great joy in the land. Now, the appositive clause here is that the war was over. Then, the way to identify or verify that this is an appositive clause is to verify whether this clause is an explanation of the noun before it, okay, and whether it means the same as the word before it, okay. Now, the announcement that the war was over caused a great joy in the land. Now, if we remove the announcement, we can as well use this as the subject, and we can say that the war was over caused great joy in the land. So it's a kind of repetition, but it is grammatically correct, and that is why it's an acceptable clause in the English grammar. The announcement that the war was over caused great joy in the land. And so when someone asks, what was the announcement? The announcement was that the war was over. Okay, so that is how to test for an appositive clause. Okay, this brings us to subject and verb placement, which was also an issue raised by Udeze. Now let's address Udeze's observation about the placement of subjects and verbs in appositive clauses. Udeze noted that in the examples we provided, there is a subject after that and before the verb. In adjective clauses, the verb comes immediately after that, okay? But in appositive clauses, what happens is that there is a subject comes after that. Unlike in the adjective clause where the verb comes immediately after that. So let's look at the example, some examples to clarify this. Well, Udeze, you are right. In appositive clauses, the structure often involves a subject before the verb, emphasizing the additional information provided. For example, I don't subscribe to the theory that love is blind. The appositive clause here is that love is blind. I don't subscribe to the theory that, then after that we have a subject, that love is blind. So that is exactly the observation. Udeze noted that in the examples we provided, there is a subject after that, and so that's exactly what we have here. I don't subscribe to the theory that love is blind. Now, this is quite different from an adjective clause. So if we reconstruct this sentence as follows: I don't subscribe to a theory that describes love as blind. You see, now, after that, we have a verb. That is exactly the observation that Udeze made, and that is quite correct. So in an adjective clause, and this is an adjective clause, a verb comes immediately after that, but in an appositive clause, a noun or a subject, comes after that. So that is exactly quite correct. Now, this brings us to finally clarifying Udeze's questions. Let's look critically at these questions once again by way of summing up. In conclusion, Udeze, appositive clauses usually start with that and often explain such words as idea, fact, report, news, rumor, belief, suggestion, hope, notion, excuse, motion, etc. Okay? Now, testing involves looking for added information that means the same as the noun before it, just as we have already explained. So yes, the structure often includes a subject before the verb, emphasizing the explanatory nature of the clause. Let's now clarify this with the example we earlier gave. I don't subscribe to the theory that love is blind. This is the appositive clause. Now, the explanation is as follows. I don't subscribe to the theory. Now, this is exactly how you verify that this is an appositive clause. Now, we use what we call the border principle, because this clause shares a common border with the word theory. So when we get to the word theory, then we put a full stop. So if you say, I don't subscribe to the theory, now the question that should be raised, for example, what theory are you talking about? Okay, so what is the theory that you don't subscribe to? And so this clause provides an answer to that question, what is the theory? And if this actually provides this answer, then it is an appositive clause. I don't subscribe to the theory. And the listener asks, what is the theory? Or what is the theory that you don't subscribe to? That love is blind. So this actually makes it an appositive clause. So you take note that an appositive clause provides explanatory information about the noun before it. The clause that love is blind explains the specific theory the speaker is talking about. Okay? That is exactly the way to identify an appositive clause. All right? That wraps up our lesson on appositive clauses. So we are drawing the curtain on today's lesson. Udeze, I hope this video clarifies your questions. To all our viewers out there, keep those questions coming. Learning is a journey and we are here to navigate it together. Until next time, this is Benjamin from English Classes online saying happy learning. Many thanks for watching today's video. A big thank you to all of you out there for being part of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, kindly subscribe to this channel. Subscribe now as a way of giving us support. For notification about new videos, click on the bell icon. You will find the bell icon. Click on it so that whenever a new video is uploaded, you will be instantly notified. If you have actually enjoyed the video, like and share the video with your friends and relatives. This is very important. If you have any comments, leave your comments below. Any questions, any suggestions, we would gladly receive them and respond promptly and positively to them. See you in the next video. I look forward to always seeing you in the new video.